second graders. Welcome to your TV classroom. Today is Friday, January 22nd. How are you today? What zone are you in? Gus, why were you hiding over there? Oh, you're in the blue zone. Why are you in the blue zone? You're feeling sad? Why are you sad? Oh, yeah. You know, sometimes when you don't do your job at home and your parents get upset and you get in trouble, you feel sad. That's what we call a natural consequence. Next time, do the right thing, okay? And then you won't feel sad. It's okay that you feel sad. Okay. Gus got in trouble this morning because he was supposed to make his bed and he told his mom he made his bed, but he didn't, and he was playing on his Nintendo and he got in trouble for not making his bed. Was Gus being responsible? Next time, what do you think Gus should do? Gus, you should just make your bed. And don't lie about it. Lying never makes it better. Gus said he got double trouble because he lied. Yeah, lying is never good. The same rule in my house. If you lie, you get double the consequence. I just want you to tell the truth. Yeah. Did you learn your lesson? Oh, good. Phew. How are you doing today? What zone are you in? All right. Remember, if you're not in the green zone, use some of our cool chili strategies. I think that's what they're called. Is that what they're called, Miss Oslett? Calm down strategies? Calm down, cool down. Give yourself a chili hug? Chili hug. Okay. So use some of those strategies if you need to. It's Fact Fun Friday, so we're going to look at some facts and see how quickly we know them. Here we go. What is 18 minus 2, or 18 take away 2? 16. What is 18 take away 4? 14. Because 8 minus 4 is 4, and there's still 10. What is 18 minus 11? What did you say, Gus? He said, Mrs. Wally, break it up into 10s and 1s. Well, 18 minus 10 is 8, minus 1 is 7. Did you see how that worked? I didn't have to get all about it. I just used what I know to figure out what I don't know, because that's what strong mathematicians do. 19 minus 6. 13. In my head, I said, well, what's the difference between 6 and 9? 6, 7, 8, 9, 3. And a 10 is 13. 19 minus 12. Here we go again. 10s and 1s. 19 minus 10 is 9. And 9 minus 2 is 7. See how that worked? All right. Today, we are learning to solve problems where we need to find the total value in hundreds. These are numbers in the hundreds, and we have to find the total value. Do you think we can do it, Gus? Are you ready, Pebble? I think you're ready. We've been working really hard at this. To warm up, use the place value chart. Write how many hundreds, tens, and ones. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to write it on your whiteboard. I'm going to do it on mine. Gus is going to help me, and then I'm going to show you my whiteboard, and you're going to check yours. Remember, you just make the rectangle, and you can use shorthand H for hundreds, tens, and ones. It saves time. Are you ready? Take a look. Three hundreds, 7 tens, 5 ones. What's the value of this number? 375. Ta-da! Reset your board. Let's do a 3-read of this problem. Amir plays a board game that's using play money. He wins 1 tens bill, 2 hundreds bills, and 3 ones bills. What's the total value of the bills Amir wins? Well, first of all, what's happening in this story? What's going on? What's the situation? Yeah, there's this kid, and they're playing a board game, and he wins some play money. Great. What are we trying to figure out? What's the question we're trying to answer? What is the total value of the bills? So we want to know how much play money does he have? Not how many bills does he have? How much is it worth? Right? Because like if you have a $100 bill and a $1 bill, you have 2 bills, but they're worth a lot of different amounts of money. When $100 is very different than $1. And if you go and try and buy, let's say like AirPods with your $1 bill, well, that's not going to work, right? But if you give them a single bill that's a $100 bill, depending on how much they cost, that might work, right? The value of that money, so we're trying to figure out the value of these bills and how much it's worth. Okay, so we're trying to figure that out today. What information do we have to work with? Let's read again and find out. Amir plays a board game that uses play money. He wins 1 tens bill, 2 hundreds bills, and 3 ones bills. What information do we have to work with? What do we know? He has a tens bill, 2 hundreds bills, and 3 ones bills. Okay. I would like you to take 1 minute to model this problem and try to solve it on your own. And then we will walk through different ways to solve the problem. You ready? Go ahead, give it a go. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. Let's take a look. They said, we're just going to use the screen, Mr. Kevin. You could use actual play money. We call that a manipulative to model it out. You could make bills, right? 100, 100, 10, 1, 1, 1, and you could count it up. You could model using play money. You could make a quick drawing of the hundreds, tens, and ones. Let's look at this play money first. How much is it worth? If we use the play money, what would we get? How would you count the value? Okay, so 100, 200, 210, 211, 212, $213. So we would say Amir has $213 according to that model. Let's see if we get the same answer on the next model. 100, 200, 10, 200, 211, 212, 213. We got $213 on that model. Now let's look at the place value chart. 200s, 110, 3 ones, which we know that makes the number 213, and we know that these are dollars. Which way did you model it? Did you pick one of the ways? These are the 3 best ways to model it. Now, some people might say, I used an equation to model. An equation is not a model. An equation is showing your thinking with a mathematical expression. So it's important when we do a story problem that you have a model and equation. So what would be the equation we would use to show our thinking to prove the value here? Right, we would do 200 plus 10 plus 3 equals 213. We would pull out the value and add all the values together. And that would be a complete solution to the problem. So it says, look at the models on the previous page. How many hundreds, tens, and ones are there? Okay, how many hundreds, tens, and ones? See them? There's 200s, 110, and 3 ones. Very good. What's the value of the hundreds bill? 100 bill, how much is that worth? It's worth $100. What's the value of the tens bill? How much is one of those tens bills worth? How much is just this worth? Right here. That's worth $10. We said this was worth $100. And how much is the $1 bill worth? $1. So if I have 2 of these, I get 200. If I have 110, I get 10. And if I have 3 ones, I get 3. Oh, look, that's that equation I wrote up here. We get $213. So we're at $213. Amir wins 2 more tens bills. On your whiteboard, show. How would you figure out how much Amir has now? I'm going to do it on my whiteboard. You do it on your whiteboard, and then we'll share. Okay? Okay, take a look at my whiteboard. I did the original amount Amir had, 200, 2 tens, 110, and 3 ones. And then I put another 2 tens. And I already did the math on the other page to know that 200 plus 10 plus 3 was 213. So I knew that this amount right here was 213, and I needed to add 2 more tens. So I added 2 more tens, which is 20. And I got the answer of $233. You should have gotten the same answer. Okay, what's another way you could have solved that? You could have drawn a picture and added 2 more 10 sticks. You could have had the money and put 2 more $10 bills and counted it out. There's lots of ways to come up with that solution. Let's take a look at this slide. What is another way to show each number? Draw the lines to connect each number to its expanded form. So what I want you to do on your whiteboard, I want you to write each number. Actually, Mr. Kevin, if you want to show my whiteboard just really quick so I can show them what to do. You're going to write 392 equals, 329 equals, and 239 equals. And then I want you to write the expanded form. That means the value of each digit goes on each line, just like we just practiced. Okay? I'm going to give you 1 minute to do that, and then I'm going to connect them, and you're going to see if you had the correct answer. Ready? Go. And you can take my board away, Mr. Kevin. They can just have the PowerPoint. Thank you. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the first number. It says 392. So it should be 392. So which one do I draw a line to? Aha, there it is. 392. Okay, let's look at the next one. It is 329. 329. Well, this one says 300 and this one says 200. 329. There it is. Last one. 239. 239. 239. So those are the numbers that should have been written in your equations. Expanded form is literally writing it as you say it with addition signs between each value. 300 plus 20 plus 9, right? So it's saying the value of each digit with an addition sign. The number is the digits collapsed with just the place value based on where they are. And it tells us what the value of that digit is. Just like the 300, the value is 300 for the 3. All right. We erase your boards. We're going to do a 3 read. First one, what's happening? Second one, what's the question? Third one, what do we know? Tia is playing a ring toss game to win tokens. She wins 3 hundreds tokens, 4 tens tokens, and 7 ones tokens. So I'm guessing they're like little circle coins that have a value on them. So one of them says 100, one of them says 10, and one of them says 1. What is another way to write the total value of the tokens Tia wins? Show your work. Oh, so we don't even need to do a 3 read because we're just writing it a different way. So let's write it the way that she says. So she says 3 hundreds. Write that out. 4 tens and 7 ones. Below that, I want you to show me that in a different way. You can show me that in expanded form. You can show me that in a place value chart. You could show me that with a picture of the tokens. You could show me that with a drawing of base 10 blocks. Go ahead. Show me the value in a different way. I don't want to see just the number. I want to see the value represented. Okay. I'm going to do it with base 10 blocks this time. 100, 200s, 300s, 4 tens, 7 ones. Maybe you did this. 800, 4 tens, 7 ones. Maybe you did this. All of those work. Maybe you did this. All of those show the value of 347. Nice job. So, last problem. When does the digit 8, so just this digit, mean 80 when it's in a number? In other words, what place value does the digit 8 need to be in to mean 80 or 8 tens? Yeah, when it's in the tens place. Okay. When does the digit 8 mean 800s? When it's in the hundreds place. And when does the digit 8 mean 8? Ones. When it's in the ones place. I want you to write me a number where the digit 8 means 80. I want you to write me a number where the digit 8, and I want 3 different numbers, where the 8 means 800. And I want you to write me a number where the digit 8 equals 8. Ready? Go. You can show my board, Mr. Kevin. I don't care what number it is, as long as that 8 in the first number is in the tens place. I don't care what number it is, as long as the 8's in the hundreds place. I don't care what number it is, as long as the 8 is in the ones place. Now, I know at home, I bet I have somebody who did this. You're right. You know what it tells me? You understand place value. Great job. You did what I asked. Awesome work. All right, let's take a look at our homework. You're going to do more of this work. You're going to do page 327 and 328, working on the value of each digit and what it means. Today, we learned to solve problems where we needed to find the total value in hundreds. We modeled the problems, we used a strategy to solve, and we explained our thinking. Before you go for your break, you will need your ELA packet, your pencil, and your learning buddy. And it looks like I copied the wrong one over because that's supposed to be Gus, not Rafa. Oops. In the second grade. I don't know what happened, Miss Oslin. I'm sorry.
That is okay.
That's all right. We all make mistakes, right? Make sure you have those things ready. And you don't need the third grade packet. You need the second grade packet. Yes, Mr. Kevin?
Isn't it Make a Mistake Wednesday?
I think so. So, friends, get your materials, have your break, take care of your needs, and then be ready and back to learn with Miss Oslin. Have a great Friday, and I will see you on Monday. Bye.
I'm Denise Dillenbeck, concertmaster of the Northwest Sinfonietta, and I'm here to share a moment of music and breath with you today. Let's take a moment to get centered together before we listen to music. Put one hand on your heart and the other on your belly. Now breathe in for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hold your breath at the top for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that together one more time. Feel free to close your eyes if you'd like. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. We are living through turbulent times. If you sometimes feel the sadness during all the challenges of the school year, you are not alone. When I'm sad, I turn to music to give my heart a lift. This piece by J.S. Bach is one of the happiest pieces I know. I first heard it on Sesame Street when I was a little girl, and it made me want to play the violin. It's called Gavotte on Rondo, and it's a dance music from Bach's time. If I were to think of words to describe how this music makes me feel, I would say jaunty and joyous. Now you try to think of a word that describes the feeling of the music while I play it for you. If you have room around you, you can also try making your own dance to this music. See what feels right to you.
Hi, second graders. Welcome back from your break. Excellent job gathering your materials and being ready to learn. Today, we are going to learn that letter writers know what they say in a letter is important. We've talked about how we have to think about who we're writing to and why we're writing to them. We've looked at some really important examples of purposes for writing a letter. We talked about how letters can be like a conversation going back and forth. I write to Mr. Kevin, he writes back to me. I write back to him, just like when we have a conversation or we're talking face to face. Today, we're going to look really closely at what you say in the letter and that it is really important, especially considering your purpose for writing the letter. We're going to read a book today that's going to help us see examples of how a persuasive letter can be written strongly to convince someone to do or say or believe something that we think they should do or say or believe. Now, persuasive letters, you'll remember, have the power to convince someone or talk someone into doing or saying or believing something. Let's look at this really fun example called Dear Mrs. LaRue, Letters from Obedience School. And in this book, Ike is writing his letters to implore Mrs. LaRue to get him out of obedience school. He really pleads his case in these letters. So implore means he's going to her and he's almost begging to get let out of obedience school. Now, let's pay close attention to how strong his opinions are and how convincing the points are, because we're learning what we say in a letter is really important. Oh, it's written and illustrated by Mark Teague. Local dog enters obedience school. So it starts with a clip from a newspaper called The Snort. This letter dated October 1 says, Dear Mrs. LaRue, how could you do this to me? This is prison, not a school. You should see the other dogs. They are bad dogs, Mrs. LaRue. I do not fit in. Even the journey here was a horror. I am very unhappy and may need something to chew on when I get home. Please come right away. Sincerely, Ike. Dear Mrs. LaRue. Oh, this is October 2nd, the next day. Dear Mrs. LaRue, were you really so upset about the chicken pie? You know, you might have discussed it with me. You could have said, Ike, don't eat the chicken pie. I'm saving it for dinner. Would that have been so difficult? It would have prevented a lot of hard feelings. Needless to say, I am being horribly mistreated. You say I should be patient and accept that I'll be there through this term? Are you aware that the term lasts 2 months? Do you know how long that is in dog years? Sincerely, Ike. October 3rd. Dear Mrs. LaRue, I'd like to clear up some misconceptions about the Hibbins cats. First, they are hardly the little angels Mrs. Hibbins makes them out to be. Second, how could I know what they were doing out on the fire escape in the middle of January? They were being a bit melodramatic, don't you think? The way they cried and refused to come down. It's hard to believe they were really sick for 3 whole days. But you know cats. Your dog, Ike. October 4, Dear Mrs. LaRue, you should see what goes on around here. The way my warden, Miss Klondike, barks orders is shocking. Day after day, I'm forced to perform the most meaningless task. Today it was sit and roll over all day long. I flatly refuse to roll over. It's ridiculous. I won't do it. Of course, I was severely punished. And another thing, who will help you cross the street while I'm away? You know you have a bad habit of not looking both ways. Think of all the times I've saved you. Well, there was that one time anyway. I must say you weren't very grateful, complaining on and on about the tiny rip in your ratty old coat. But the point is, you need me. Yours, Ike. Boy, Ike really makes his issue important by writing powerful examples and reasons that support his request. Reminds me of another book that we read, I Want a New Room, where Alex works hard at being convincing too. In the first letter, they state their case. Ike is saying, I shouldn't be in obedience school. I should be home. And then each letters go on to list strong reasons to support their opinion that Ike should go home from obedience school. Now, you are going to write a persuasive letter, and I want you to think about how can you use examples that Mark Teague did as the author of this book to make your writing really strong, because as a persuasive letter, it's important that you include strong examples and reasons. Otherwise, it's not going to be convincing. Okay, let's keep reading to see what other examples Ike comes up with. October 5, Dear Mrs. LaRue, the guards here are all caught up in this good dog, bad dog thing. I hear it constantly. Good dog, Ike. Don't be a bad dog, Ike. It is really so good to sit like a human, like a lummox all day. Oh my goodness, I couldn't read that. Let's try that again. Is it really so good to sit still like a lummox all day? Nevertheless, I refuse to be broken. Miss Klondike has taken my typewriter. She claims it disturbs the other dogs. Does anybody care that the other dogs disturb me? Yours, Ike. Dear Mrs. LaRue, were the neighbors really complaining about my howling? It is hard to imagine. First, I didn't howl that much. You were away those nights, so you wouldn't know, but trust me, it was quite moderate. Second, let's recall that these are the same neighbors who are constantly waking me up in the middle of the afternoon with their loud vacuuming. I say we all have to learn to get along. My life here continues to be a nightmare. You wouldn't believe what goes on in the cafeteria. Sincerely, Ike. P.S. I don't want to alarm you, but the thought of escape has crossed my mind. Oh no. And then the sign in the cafeteria says, no howling, biting, scratching, growling, slobbering, or barking, and no seconds. Goodness. October 7. Dear Mrs. LaRue, I hate to tell you this, but I am terribly ill. It started in my paw, causing me to limp all day. Later, I felt queasy so that I could barely eat dinner except for the yummy gravy. Then I began to moan and howl. Finally, I had to be taken to the vet. Dr. Wilfrey claims that he can't find anything wrong with me, but I am certain I have an awful disease. I must come home at once. Honestly yours, Ike. Boy, that's pretty convincing. October 8, Dear Mrs. LaRue, thank you for the lovely get well card. Still, I'm a little surprised that you don't come get me. I know what Dr. Wilfrey says, but it is really wise to take risks. Oh, is it really wise to take risks with one's health? I could have a relapse, you know. With fall here, I think about the fine things we used to have in the park. Remember how sometimes you would bring along a tennis ball? You would throw it and I would retrieve it every time. Except for once when it landed into something nasty and I brought you back a stick instead. Ah, how I miss those days. Yours truly, Ike. And P.S. Imagine how awful it is for me to be stuck inside my tiny cell. P.P.S. I still feel pretty sick. Wow. Ike is really giving a lot of reasons for why he should come home from obedience school. Here's another one. October 9. Dear Mrs. LaRue, by the time you read this, I will be gone. I have decided to attempt a daring escape. I'm sorry it has come to this, since I am really a very good dog, but frankly, you left me no choice. How sad it is not to be appreciated. From now on, I'll wander from town to town without a home or even any dog food, most likely, since it is the life of a desperate outlaw. I will try to write to you from time to time as I carry on with my life of hardship and danger. Your lonely fugitive, Ike. Oh. It says LaRue escapes doggy detention. Wanted, escaped canine. Reward, return. Wonder what the return is, what the reward is. Oof. October 11, somewhere in America. Dear Mrs. LaRue, I continue to suffer horribly as I roam this barren wasteland. Who knows where my wanderings will take me now? Hopefully to someplace with yummy food. Remember the special treats you used to make for me? I miss them. I miss our nice, comfy apartment. But mostly, I miss you, your sad dog, Ike. P.S. I even miss the Hibbins cat in a way. October 12th, still somewhere. Dear Mrs. LaRue, the world is a hard and cruel place for a stray dog. You would scarcely believe the misery I've endured, so I have decided to return home. You may try to lock me up again, but that is a risk I must take. And frankly, even more than myself, I worry about you. You may not know it, Mrs. LaRue, but you need a dog. Your, what does that say? Oh, misunderstood friend, Ike. Hero dog saves owner. Look at that, Mrs. LaRue. Just like Ike said, I saved her. He saved her by crossing the street. Mrs. LaRue was unhurt in the incident, though her coat was badly torn. I don't care about that, she said. I'm just happy to have my Ike back home where he belongs. LaRue said she plans to throw a big party for the dog. All the neighbors will be there, and I'm going to serve Ike's favorite dishes. I'll bet he can't wait to taste the chicken pie. Now, Ike sent a lot of letters. They were very convincing. He had to stop first and think about, who's he writing his letter to? Mrs. LaRue. What's his purpose for writing her? It's a persuasive letter to get her to let him come home from obedience school. And ultimately, in the end, his letters were so convincing that she let him stay home after he escaped. But I'm wondering, was it really the letters that convinced her, or was it the fact that he pulled her out from in front of a big truck? I don't know. Now, writers, in your ELA packet on page 22 is this graphic organizer called Persuasive Letter. This is going to be your independent work today, where you're going to think about your audience. Who are you writing to? And you'll write whoever it's to on the line. You're going to think about your purpose. What do I want to convince my audience to do or believe? And then you're going to give reasons. How will I convince my audience? There's 6 bullet points there. You hopefully will be able to come up with 6 reasons to persuade your audience to believe or do what you want them to believe or do. Because we're learning today that letter writers know that what they say in a letter is important. If you want your letter to actually convince someone to say or do or believe something, you need to be convincing. You need to have strong reasons. The documents that you have that can help you be a strong writer are your powerful word patterns, your troublemaker words and your tackle a word chart, and your Snap Words book, and you can practice reading your word wall. What I want you to do today is complete that graphic organizer to begin the draft of your persuasive letter. And I do want you to send it to us here at TV Classroom. If it's okay with your adult and they're able, they could take a picture or scan it, and you could email it to us, tvclassroom@tacoma.k12.wa.us, and we'll share it. Or you can put it in the mail, and our address comes up at the end of our lessons, and we would love to share it and give you some feedback on the work that you're doing. Now it's time for our affirmation. You did such a good job of reading and thinking and listening to that fun news story with me today. Your affirmation today is, I can be kind. Practice saying that with me. I can be kind. We don't always feel like we want to be kind. We don't always feel kind in our hearts, but we can be kind. So let's say that one more time. I can be kind. Thank you so much again, second graders, for reading and thinking with me today. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you back here next week in our TV classroom. Bye.
Hey kids, we want to see your work. Just send your pictures and your stories to TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.